Hello, my name is Mark Suter, or Garlic in 3D Game Lab, and you are attending the Google Drive versus Skydrive comparison. I'm going to share my screen here so you can see that in the recording. The first thing I want to show you, though, is the comparison tool that we're going to be using. This is actually using Skydrive from Microsoft, their Excel web app, which just means it's running in the cloud or on the internet. And this link is in the events box, so if you don't have this, I will copy this into the chat window so you can use this comparison tool. Bimoan, you can't hear me, you say, in the chat window. Michael can hear me, so I think it must be on your end with the speakers or something. So in this comparison tool, essentially you can put in options for anything. This could be major decisions like where to go out to eat for supper, or it could just be comparing two different software programs. But on the left side, you put in your decision factors, and I'll get to weighting in a minute. And then on the vertical columns, we have our two options, and you can have many other options. And so if I were to rate storage on one as a 3 out of 5 and this one a 5 out of 5, and export options a 1 and a 2, you can see that it's automatically updating up here. Now what's interesting is weighting allows me to, if I consider exporting options to be more important than storage, I can say, well, this is worth a lot more to me, so I'm going to have a heavier weighting on that, which makes this 2 a lot more powerful than another 2. And so I'll simplify these numbers and make them both 1s and 2s. Actually, I'll make it a 2 and a 1. And you can see, because I weighted this one heavier, that it is not a tie. It's actually Skydrive would win this one based on having heavier weighting. This is now worth actually 4 points. All it does really is multiply the weighting times the score, and then puts the total up here. And then whichever is the highest of all these, it highlights there for you. So I'm going to clear these out, and we'll come back here and fill this out. You could download this as an Excel spreadsheet and do it, offline if you'd rather not do it online. If you are visiting the link that I pasted, you would have to say edit. There should be an edit button that allows you to edit in the on Skydrive there. So let's get started. I have a little cheat sheet agenda here. Apparently 2 of them. So the comparison tool, which I pasted into the chat already. First thing I want to look at, which I'll paste this into the chat as well, is a comparison from the Windows or the Microsoft website that actually compares Dropbox and some others. The Mullen can hear, very good. And this is the page that takes you to. And it gives you a breakdown of comparing various web-based storage and access. However, it's not quite a fair comparison, because we're actually comparing web-based, Word document editing, word processing, not just plain storage. So like Apple iCloud and Dropbox, they don't allow you to create new documents and share the documents. Well, you can share them, but you can't collaboratively edit the documents. So comparing these two alone, you would give the cloud storage to Skydrive, you would think. However, as of this week, Google Drive plus Gmail used to be, or is 10 gigs, and Drive is 5 gigs. Okay, so by looking at this chart, you would think Skydrive would win. However, as of this week, together, Google Drive has combined with Gmail, and you now have 15 gigabytes between the two. They've combined the 10 and the 5, so you don't have to use those as separate storage quotas, and you have 15 total between Drive and Gmail. So if you don't use Gmail to store attachments and such, you basically have 15 gigs for your Google Drive. So I actually would give a good rating for the Google Drive over the Skydrive, 7 gigs. So I'm going to go to my storage here. And you could weight these however you want to and you fill it out. However, storage isn't hugely important to me, because like in Google Docs, a Google Doc doesn't count against your storage. It's free file size. So I'm not weighting that very heavy, but ooh, somebody came in. Google Drive, I'm going to give a 4 because it's not huge, but it's pretty good. The Skydrive, that one's still sufficient, but so I'll give it a 3. Hey, we got a Kimmy. Hi, Kimmy. How you doing? Welcome aboard.
Hi.
We just got started. We're using a comparison tool, which is linked up in the chat window. I think you can access that. So if you continue to look down through the comparison chart, they are both on Windows, Mac, etc. And you can look through this, but I want to actually get into using both tools. But this is a good starting point for checking these out.
Mark, can you put that up again? I don't have it in my chat.
Oh, I will paste it back into the chat then. I didn't know if you could retroactively go back into the old chat. That's just a comparison provided by Microsoft. So I'm going to put Google Drive on the left side, and I have Skydrive up on the right side. Now, they both have visual thumbnails that you can look at things, so I can change this into thumbnail view on Skydrive, so you can see that as well. They both are web-based storage, but where the differences start is when you start to create new documents. So if in Google Drive, if I want to create a new document, I say create document in the windows like this, which you've probably used before for most of you. Okay, in Skydrive, there is a create button, and you say create Word document. And we'll call this Suter test 1, create. I'm going to maximize this temporarily. And it launches the Word web app, which again, even if I didn't have Microsoft Word installed on my computer, this Word web app would load. And it essentially looks like a watered-down Microsoft Word, but it has a lot of the similar settings that you would find in Google Drive. You could type in here, you could share it, etc., but it's a little less intuitive because if I wanted to share this, you're looking around for a share button. Whereas in Google Drive, there's a big blue share button to share it. So if I go to the File menu, there is a share button in there, but you have to go down and find it. And I could invite people. Now, they're both similar in the respect that if you want to collaboratively edit this with me, you would have to have a Microsoft Live account. And Google Drive, if you want to collaborate on that, you both have to have a Gmail account. Not to view it, but to edit. And you can get a link similar to the Google Drive. So I actually consider the sharing and collaboration abilities basically a tie between the two. Now, one other thing I want to show you is inserting a picture on each one of those. It's a little bit different. In Skydrive, it's like this. Say insert picture, choose file, and on my desktop, I have an image. Insert.
What's the S word?
It's my name that I spelled out on the playground.
Oh, cute.
Using items on the playground. It's a project I do with the 6th graders, actually. They're all using 3D Game Lab, and so they're all chomping at the bit. They want to go back in Quest, but I'm making them sit here and watch my meeting all quiet-like and take notes. So I know they all want to get started, but we'll get through the meeting. So there's inserting the picture inside Skydrive as opposed to in Google Drive. I actually like Google Drive a little better as far as inserting images because it will show you past images that you've uploaded, whereas in Skydrive you just choose an image and upload it. So in here I'll choose an image, same S word. Yeah, I decided not to use the F word, which was fun. I spelled out fun. That's the F word. So they're similar in that regard. So if I go back to insert image, I can look through my drive here. There's a lot more options in Google Drive. You could actually use an image URL. If you use Flickr in that, they provide URLs. The My Drive, you can navigate through all that and choose between the different views. So I have to give that point to formatting. Let's add a new category here for inserting pics. I'm only going to weigh it at a 1. I'll make all these others 2 and weigh inserting pics at a 1 because it's not that important, but it's worth mentioning. So let's give Google Drive out of 5. I give that a 5 because I think they do that really well. Skydrive, it works, but they don't have quite as many options, so I'll give that a 3 on that one. And again, you could fill this out differently. This is just my personal opinion. So we'll keep going from there. Oh, wait, I'll leave that in there. So let's say this is a test, and I'll select that. And here's my list of fonts that I could use. I'll choose Impact. And let's go back to the other document in Skydrive, and let's try something similar. Let's knock that down and say this is a test. Highlight that. And we have more fonts. Okay, so if you're weighing fonts, there's a lot more fonts. Look at this list. And I'm assuming they're getting these from a web font list, or maybe they're ones that are on my system. I'm not sure where they're getting these, but I can use a lot different fonts in the Skydrive. So that's a point for Skydrive. I'll use a little goofy, tiny font. Okay, that's lame. They're not that exciting, I guess, but Gothic. Nice. Okay. Now, let's say you wanted to download this and work on it inside Microsoft Word. They both have the option to download from the cloud to your computer so you can edit locally. If you're going to go to the beach and you don't have internet access, you want to edit your files, you can still do that. Now, it's a little less intuitive, again, in Skydrive. So if you go to File, Save As, there's your download button. Now, what format options do I have? Well, it didn't give me any options. It downloaded it down here as a docx, which is the format for Microsoft Word as of 2007 and later. There it opens up in Microsoft Word. Everything looks good. So I could go off the grid without internet access and be able to edit this. Now, what if you want to download as a PDF using Skydrive? You do have that option, but ironically, it's not in the Save As. You would have to go to the file Print, and there is your print to PDF. So let's make sure the printing to PDF works. Yeah, click here to view. Okay, good. It did work. It did export the PDF. Lo and behold. However, I again give it to Google Drive as far as downloading files because, check this out. If I go to File, Download As, there's a whole bunch of formats here, including docx. So Skydrive only has the docx. However, what if you're using OpenOffice, which our students here at my high school, they all have OpenOffice on a one-to-one laptop initiative, and they all use open document format. Okay, RTF, rich text format, PDF is right inside with the other formats. I don't understand why Microsoft splits it. Okay, I understand when they create it, it does technically probably go through the printer drivers, but people don't need to know that. They just want to download the PDF, so put it in there. And even the plain TXT, and even as a web page. I don't know why you would, but you can. So let's go ahead and download as docx. It downloaded it. And there we go. It works just fine from both of them, the docx. However, in Google Drive, we can then download as PDF. And there it is, my PDF. Worked. Excellent. Let me check the chat, make sure nobody's asked any critical questions. Yeah, Kimmy, I know you've got to edit your Word documents when you're on the beach, because that's what we do when we go to the beach. We work. So they both work, but again, the exporting options, it's fairly important to me because I go back and forth. So I'm actually going to weigh that at a 3 in the Google Drive. I think they do an excellent job of the exporting. Skydrive, I'm giving them a 3 here. I'm not anti-Microsoft, I'm not anti-Apple, but I'm trying to be as non-biased as possible. And exporting is important to me, so I'll leave that one there. Now, what if we were going the other direction? What if we were uploading a document? I have a dissertation report with fancy tabbed formatting and such that we're going to upload to both Google Drive and Skydrive. I'm going to go back to list view because that view drives me nuts. From Google Drive, I can just say hit the upload files, and here's my dissertation report. Let me open that in Word real quick so you can see what that looks like before I upload it. This was created in Word, so it's native to Word, DOCX, Battle Royale, there it is. This is what it looks like. It has the fancy tabbed indents you can see up here at the top. If you don't know what those are, don't worry about it, but we want to see what the online cloud-based tools do with this once they get it. Okay, it's several pages long, 12 pages. Now let's go upload it. Open dissertation report, and it is converting directly to a Google Doc, which again does not count against my storage. One of these things allows me, sort by quota used. You'll notice an actual MOV file I have in the cloud counts against my quota, but all of these blanks here are things that have been uploaded and converted or created here natively in Google Drive. They don't count against my storage, so which is why I'm only 1% full because I have a lot of Google Docs and they don't count against your storage. So now let's check out the dissertation report in Google Docs. You can see it did keep the tabbing, and check this out. It kept my fancy tabbing here. It kept the formatting as it should be. So if I were to hit enter here and hit the tab key, it put it in the right spot. Excellent. Now, you ready for the deal breaker for me? Well, I don't know if I call it a deal breaker, but you got to make it sound dramatic. If I go back to Skydrive by clicking on Skydrive here, waiting, just thinking about it. Maybe. Oh boy. We have really good bandwidth here. I'm not sure what the problem is. It's probably going to crash.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Hey, there we go. Kill it. Oh, snap. All right, I'm just going to delete the end of that address and go back to skydrive.live. Hey, it worked. Okay. From here, I'm going to go into the folder where I want to upload first because that's where it goes. It doesn't just go loose that way, so I'm going to go into the public. And then from here, I'm going to say upload, which is just as intuitive. That's fine. There's my report. Say open. And it is uploading the DOCX. Should show up. There it is. And I can open it, and it opens it to read it first. Oh no, wait, it went straight into the web app. Now, it did keep the formatting. However, if I remember correctly, oh yeah, it did open in the web app viewer, but I need to say edit in Word web app to actually edit it, which is another step. I don't know why the viewer and the editor are two separate things. Now, what happened? They got jacked up. All the tabs are gone, which is completely ironic because it was a Word document, and I uploaded it to a Microsoft Skydrive, and the Word web app jacked up my tabs. But the tabs in Google Drive are perfect. I don't get it. Microsoft, get with the program. Because if I was going to go from computer to computer and I need to download it, upload it, and I shouldn't have to worry about Skydrive sometimes does it right and sometimes doesn't. It should just do it. So I have a feeling they'll fix this in the future, but right now it is screwed up. You can't, it doesn't keep your formatting correct. So if I hit enter here, okay, it's not. I'm not sure why it's not letting me edit it, but it doesn't matter because the tabs are all messed up. So I'm going to return back to Skydrive, open up this. Formatting. Is it important? Yeah, I think so, because a lot of times I'll start a document somewhere where I don't have internet, and then I'll go to somewhere where I do have internet, but I want to share it and collaborate with other people. So I will upload it to Google Docs, and then share it with them so we can work together. So Google Drive, you did it perfect. Skydrive, I don't know. What do you give them on that? Yeah, I guess they got them in the right order, but
1.
I'll give them a 2. I'll
maybe.
be generous. I'll give them a 2. Because it did
Okay.
recognize that there was something different about those, and so I have a feeling that it's going to get fixed, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. So I know it's horrible of me, but there we go. Collaboration is actually pretty good on both. However, if I remember right, the finding revisions and reverting back to revisions is a little clunky on the Skydrive end right now. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go 4 and 3 because if you've ever used Primary Pad to collaborate on something, they have this. I'll show it to you real quick. Primary Pad is you don't need an account. You can just collaborate anywhere, anytime. You can log in if you plan on getting it back later, but if you just want to be at a conference and collaborate with some people over lunch, you can just go here and say Create Pad, and then it creates a unique URL, and I will copy this and paste it into the chat. And then if you guys would join me there, I would paste this so my students could get it, but I have no idea what they would type inside that document. Most of them would behave. But anyways, inside of this Primary Pad, hello world, it color codes it for me and all that good stuff. There's an unnamed person there. I'm going to guess Kimmy. I named you, so whoever it is, you're Kimmy now. I'll call the next one Bob. Now go ahead and start typing on the other side there. But
Yes, it's
the
probably me.
feature that I think, hey, I was
Okay,
right.
hold on.
The feature I like, I'll let you go ahead and type before I show you the feature. Hello.
I'm in blue.
Chapter 1. Now, Wash, what's up? What I like about this that I wish Google Drive and Skydrive would integrate is this time slider. Instead of just seeing the timestamp of, okay, I wonder what it looked like then, you have to click on it and it opens it up. In Primary Pad, you can grab this little slider and drag it back and forth, and it's almost to the second shows you every single version of it. You can even hit the play button, and it plays the editing of that document like a movie,
Oh, that's cool.
which I think is a feature they need to integrate into the other ones. So that's why I can't give a perfect score to Google Drive, even though it's fairly intuitive. It could be a little bit better. So where are we at? Well, by my score, I have Google Drive at 46, Skydrive at 28. So, Google Drive. So, questions you guys have so far in my meeting, not my students. They all look at me like, are we allowed to talk? No, not yet. Questions? Oh, I think I may have some people muted. Let me mute if you want to speak. Somebody plugged in their iPad.
Yeah, so as far as like district permissions and stuff like that, is this something that's widely permissible? So the Skydrive? Most districts now have Google Drive.
Yes, if you're not going Google Apps already, Skydrive is a good option if your school already has a Microsoft agreement. But even still, even with the Microsoft agreement, I would recommend to my district and other districts that they actually stick with Google Drive. The storage is more, the formatting's better, more other people you're going to collaborate with are on Google Drive already. Microsoft may catch up because they have the muscle to push it. You know, Office 365 is a new subscription-based Microsoft Office, basically. So as more people transition to that, maybe more people will use the Skydrive web apps. But I would give those points also to Google Drive because I think they have the numbers in the cloud-based editing, whereas Skydrive is kind of new, is kind of clunky still. But I'm sure their numbers will increase. But The sharing in that is all very comparable, but as far as districts go, I would still say go with Google Drive for what it's worth. Oh, thank you, Michael. Questions from the others? Anyone? I'm sure I hit everything on my topic list. A couple of things that Skydrive does interesting that's a little bit different. It's kind of a personal preference thing. The Excel surveys are pretty decent. I'll show you one of those real quick. If I say create Excel survey, I'll call this Suter survey. It's similar to a Google survey in that it stores the information and will chart things automatically for you. But it's kind of a personal preference. They're essentially the same in that regard too. The question types are all the same. Okay, that little window just crashed. There we go. Yes, no choice. So things it does better, maybe on that comparison chart they might have a few things there. I'm assuming that, oh, the tables are better in here, but not much, I guess is my answer to that. And I guess if somebody tries to sell you on Microsoft Skydrive, I guess I would ask them the exact same question and say, okay, what does it do better? Yes, it does the same things, but if I'm already on Google Drive, what does it do better? I sound like a Google Drive salesperson, but one other thing that I like better about Google Drive is, if I go back to it, you can tie a lot more other applications to it. So if I say create and connect more apps, you'll notice more and more you can sign into these other apps using Google Drive. And like WeVideo is collaborative video editing, and you can store all these files inside of Google Drive. Pixlr, which is what my students use, web-based image editing. We have Photoshop, but I encourage them to use Pixlr because they won't always have Photoshop. And so you could connect that and actually store your Pixlr editing images right inside of Google Drive and just tie those two accounts together. Okay, I haven't even told my students that yet, so now they'll probably go get Google accounts. UJam, another thing that my students use, you can connect that right to your Google Drive account. So Skydrive, no, they don't. As far as I know, there's very little you can tie to that. I mean, there's just a ton of things you can tie to your Google Drive account, even things for teachers. So there's win-win-win all the way across the board. There's some ties, but I don't, as far as I can tell, there's no losses in the Google Drive category. They're either ties or wins. So moral of the story is Google Drive still wins. iMovie, not that I know of, Kimmy, in answer to your question. SkyDrive Excel. Okay, let's look at it. Google Drive spreadsheet versus to my students, when the bell rings, you guys are free to go to lunch, but not till the bell rings. SkyDrive, well, that's a survey, though. That's not fair.
Maybe to make your students a little jealous, we don't have school on Friday.
You don't have, why don't you have school on Friday? Ever?
We have we have a 4-day school week.
Ah, so what are your hours on the 4 days you do go to school?
Really long.
Oh, okay.
8:10 to
I'll ask my students that next week.
Yeah, would they rather have a long day? Yeah, it is a long day.
Awesome. So here's the SkyDrive Excel. Share with people. You can open directly in Excel, so I guess if that tying together of a feature is important to you. I guess I don't use Excel enough to really have compared them. Now let's side by side that with this one. Similar there. I mean, the interface is, I guess what features were lacking that you were looking for? Maybe that would help, because maybe if we found them. Like formula validation or the function editor. And Google doesn't have certain functions like concatenate if you use that one, I know. So if you're looking for that, no, it doesn't have that. Look here. Functions and formulas. So like I said, I have stumbled across a few formulas in Google Drive, or Google Spreadsheet that it does not have. So if I concat, which puts together various text fields, like I use concatenate. Hey, wait, they added it. Never mind. Spreadsheets added concatenate. Sweet. You would try to import and everything would be broken. Let me try importing something. I've had good experience on Google Drive as far as importing. I don't know what these files are, so I better import some. Oh, there it is. Swimming event. This is like swimming times and such. No, it seemed to work. It didn't have a formula in here to begin with. It's just a test document. But it does import the multiple sheets. Yeah, they've come a ways on it. Like I said, they just added, I don't know when they added it, but apparently they updated their formulas and such. And I think their engineers have gone a lot further and out of their way to make it more streamlined and seamless between the two. But if you do find that, I'd be happy to hear about it. If you ever find interesting things like that I was wrong about, I would love to know about them. You can tweet them at garlicsuter or email garlicsuter@gmail.com. No, that was a good question, but as far as I can tell, they're almost the same as far as the interfaces between the two. Ooh, macros he's asking about. Since you're working with macros, you probably know which versions of Excel do and don't. And as far as I know, didn't they start doing away with the macros for security issues in the newer Microsoft Excel? So I'm guessing not. Scripts, that's not what I want. But I thought the VB scripts or something was insecure, and so they started phasing out those because there was viruses being used inside of Excel. Don't quote me on that, but that's what comes to mind. I don't know the answer to that, though. I won't try to act like I do know, because I don't know. So any other questions that I can't answer? Awesome. Well, if there are no more questions, I think I covered everything that I wanted to. Just wanted to give a side-by-side, plus make sure you guys got a hold of that comparison tool, which I know I wouldn't use it on a day-to-day basis either when I'm comparing software. But the situation you would want to use something like that is if a district's trying to make a decision on something and you need to have some sort of official measuring tool. That's the only situation I ever use that in. Do we get Photoshop or do we get CorelDRAW, or do we hire this person or hire that person? Any major decisions where you need some sort of empirical data with numbers, That's the reason that I have that tool and share it with you today. It's obviously you're not going to sit there and fill that out when you're trying to make decisions on where to go to eat or whatever, but some handy stuff. Also pretty straightforward. So all right, I will stop the recording at least.